We are back at Lockhart. It's been 2 weeks. Let's check out the progress. What you can see right here is there's a roof on the training center. So we're gonna walk around. This time we're starting off on the west side. Every other time we've done this, we've started on the east side. This time we're gonna check out the west. It seems like there's a little bit more going on the west side. They gotta get these club seats up and running fast, apparently. But we got a lot to see today. As you can see a little bit there's a lot of cranes going on. Let's check it out. All right, for today, we are starting closest off to the airport, looking off to the direction of Cypress Creek here. As we pan around, you can see they're flattening out some more of these fields. This be the main training pitch here. And you can see now the state-of-the-art training facility. Now, Jorge Mas was just recently on Planet Futbol, and he was talking about some of the details with this training facility, how it would be the most state-of-the-art in all of MLS. Some technology that will be in this building that has not been in any other MLS stadium, or training facility, that is. All right, nice view of that roof that's going in. Nobody's working out here today, that I could see at least. Making some nice progress. Here it is, the beginning of October. Got the roof going up, the training facility. Keeping in mind, this whole thing needs to be open in March. Making good progress. Here's our Northwest 55th Street sign. It is leaning even more. Stryker Boulevard, Northwest 15th Ave. It is just barely hanging in there. And it's right next to the porta potties. All right, here we're at the other side of the training facility. Panning around. Again, this is the road that used to divide Lockhart from Fort Lauderdale Baseball Stadium, where the Yankees called home, I think the Orioles. A lot of famous baseball had been played in this stadium. Now it's going to be, the future soccer stars of South Florida. As we start panning from the training facility over to the stadium, we can see quite a bit of what will be the stadium just laying there getting ready to be installed. So we can zoom in a little more. There's quite a bit of these beams out there. All right, we're looking at the west stands, and I found some people working on a Sunday. You can see they've got some of the metal girders or the metal beams up for the stands now. last time we were here, we just saw the poles up there to hold up the stands. Now we're starting to see some framework going in there. Got these guys working hard on a Sunday afternoon. Kind of a geek when it comes to this stuff. You can see that yellow truck lifting up one of those beams, just moving around, getting ready to put it somewhere. It's not a large crew on a Sunday, but and from my understanding, I was talking to somebody who might know a little something. And they were telling us that the crew is, in order to get this bid, the company that is building this, in order for them to get the bid, they had to commit to, I think it was 50, 60 hours a week, 6 days a week, something to that effect. 10-hour days, 6 days a week, I think is what it was. Because we're under a tight deadline. And there was a local company that bid for it, but once they found out that was the kind of hours that would be required, they pulled their bid. All right, now we're over here by right around where the south stands will be, and this person that I know that is into construction and has a little bit of knowledge about this facility tells me he's seen the plans in more detail than any of us have seen, and he's under the impression that these south stands will be completely like portable. They'll be rented for the amount of time. So for the 2 or 3 years that the team is playing here, they'll be rented. And then once Miami Freedom Park is built, they will return those stands, and then it'll just have a east-west stands, which would then be perfect for the USL League One team that will call this place home permanently. And one of the giveaways apparently is that here in the south side, there are no footers for the stands, leading to the fact that these might just be rolled in, rolled out. You know, you saw some of that in the Russian Olympic World Cup. I saw a documentary where they were talking about one particular stadium where they did exactly that. They just rolled them in, did the tournament, rolled them on out. And just south of those south stands, we've got some block building going in there. Maybe some restrooms. Got some monster crane activity going on here. This thing is gigantic. Pretty cool. What does that thing do? All right, now we're gonna take a tour and take a look over here on the east side. This road right here is Northwest 12th. And look at that. You can see right here these buildings that we saw before, which, you know, I questioned on what kind of buildings they were, wondering if they were for food or what have you. But this source that I have that is in the construction business was telling me that these are likely just restrooms. There will be lots and lots of restrooms. However, all of the food, you know, that you might want to get, your nachos, your burgers, and your dogs, all that kind of cool stuff, will be sold in tents. So, because they didn't have time to get the permits for selling food, I guess, inside of these buildings. At least that's what the source says. And if you're looking at tents, you're thinking of the look to be more similar to that of the old Lockhart. So, you know, the old Lockhart, we had lots of like vendors that were just had their tents, that were selling their arepas, that were selling their pinchos, all kinds of great stuff, just in these little tents, and sometimes even food trucks. Now we could see close up. We see these big poles here that are obviously going to hold up parts of the east stands. These were not here 2 weeks ago when we were here. We had these buildings, and you know, if we look at these buildings, it does make sense that these would just be restrooms, and there's a lot of like pipes in there sticking up for, say, urinals and things like that, sinks. So that kind of makes sense when you look at that. But these buildings, you know, in 2 weeks, I don't think we've seen a ton of progress on the outside of the buildings or the structure of the buildings, more so on the stands. Here we have some more of those footings and those poles for the stands. No buildings attached to those. But man, it's going to be quick. I mean, pretty soon. You know, we saw on the west side that they're starting to build some of the metal structure. That's coming over here real soon. And next time we're out here, we might see some of the east side stands going up. I mean, we got the supports ready to go. Yeah, in this building here, you could see a lot of what I was talking about, those pipes just sticking up. Again, I don't know anything about construction, but, you know, it looks like it could be water pipes, you know, for sinks, urinals, all that kind of stuff. Bathrooms are important at a stadium. Sometimes you hear some of the biggest complaints about new stadiums that there aren't enough bathrooms. So If these are indeed all restrooms or something to that effect, that's good news. All right, here we're on the north side of the stadium. North stands, supporter section. Nice view going into the stadium. Again, at this point, we're not seeing any of those kind of footings and poles and things like that going up for the end zones. So that does leave some credibility maybe to the idea that these end zone seats will be temporary and will be rented and returned once Inter Miami moves down to Miami at Miami Freedom Park. So for 2 to 3 years. I know they say 2 years, but with Miami politics and everything, it does feel like it may be longer. But at the end of the day, who cares? All we want is an MLS team in South Florida, right? This isn't too far. If you live in Miami, it's easy to get up here. If you live up here and you want to go see the team in Miami, no big deal. It's easy to get down south. Look at this. We have a parking lot. They've laid some parking lot. Laid the lot. I would think, and I don't understand any of this stuff, but I would think that this would have been laid a lot later, because your parking lot is not nearly as important as a structure itself. But they've got it down. They've got the curbs down. East side of the training facility. Again, forgive the windiness. I'm not sure if how easy or how hard it is to hear today, but it is a very windy morning out here. Curious, those of you guys that are watching, how many of you plan on driving to the stadium and plan on using one of these parking lots? Public transportation is a big topic in South Florida over the recent years, especially when they're talking about building stadiums in Miami and not really including a parking lot. Thought being that everybody would use metro rail or public transport of some sort to the stadium. So question, how many people from Miami are planning on taking public transport up here to Fort Lauderdale? The Tri-Rail station is pretty close. The team is supposed to set up some sort of bus or transportation from the Tri-Rail to the stadium. That's what we've heard. So how many people are you going to do that? And then those of us that maybe live closer to the stadium, is it cheaper just to Uber here than pay for parking? And when I think about parking, I'm curious, how many of these businesses here, they're all closed today, but how many of these businesses may rent out their lots for parking? Back in the old Miami Fusion days, that did happen in some of these areas. People at times would park down here in this industrial area. And wouldn't this be just the best place for a bar? Take over, say, maybe the Fender Mender right here. Put a bar right there. Place for people to hang out during away games. How awesome would that be? Look at this. We got this fence, and now we have no fence. I mean, in theory, I could just walk right in. Just walk right in here where the football field will be, where I guess some of the local high schools will play. I'm not going to walk in there, just in case anybody from the team is watching. See this sidewalk? I am not walking past this sidewalk. But I did just see a truck full of workers leaving. Maybe going to get lunch. Maybe they're done for the day. This is wide open. Get a great view over here. I gotta be honest, I am surprised. This is just wide open. Just wide open. If you were wondering who's putting in the turf, Sports Turf 1 Inc. They got their truck out here. They're ready to go. This is a good sign. Again, we're on the east side. We got some progress over here I don't think we saw last time. Lighting poles for this backfield One of the training pitches back here. Lots of kind of dirt and rocks there. I'm guessing they're going to put some of that over here as well to get it nice and level. Nice hard sturdy surface for some turf. There's another situation where I got some really easy access here. Good for videoing. Nice shots. Fence is down over here. Got like a retaining wall here, just really close here. Here's a little gap and here's the sidewalk. So I'm really close. Here's the sidewalk. You can see where I'm standing. And just this gap and then this retaining wall and somebody's ocean spray they forgot. Just think, guys, here's the sidewalk again. Look how close we are to the training fields. I mean, unless they're gonna build some big wall, you should be able to just, come over here, stand on the sidewalk, and watch some training. Now, I'm sure the main team will be over on that side, but this is still really close to the sidewalk, really using the entire space. Right up against the airport. I mean, literally just touching the airport. Well, that's it, guys. I've walked around the entire stadium. We saw what we could see. Got a parking lot, we got some roof. We've got a field turf truck out here. Hoping they're putting in that field turf real soon. Tell me what you're excited about with what you see here. What did you see today that made you excited about this upcoming season? March can't come fast enough. Hey, if you're new here, please like and subscribe. There's a notification, there's a bell there. You can get notifications for when we put up new videos. So we'll be doing this again next week, or at least every 2 weeks. Minimum of every 2 weeks we'll be out here until the stadium opens. So thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.